some of you. My name is Frank Uchechukwu. I will teach you public procurement procedure. Basically, there are 3 stages in public procurement procedure. The first stage is pre-bid stage. The second stage is bidding stage. And the third stage is post-bid stage. There are various activities that happens within each of these stages, and I will take it one after the other. Now, the first one, pre-bid stage. The first activity that takes place in pre-bid stage is need assessment. Need assessment implies articulating the various needs. Either, for example, if it is MDA, the MDA or the procurement officer will now articulate the various needs of the various departments and the various units within that MDA. The procurement officer will gather this need, and when he has gotten this need, the next thing the procurement officer will do is to interface with the planning, either planning officer or planning department, so that this need will be put in a proper perspective. What is planning? Putting the need and the time of achievement of this need and the source of fund or budget together, so that in a glance you will know when and how to accomplish those procurement. That is planning. So the procurement officer will now have to work with the planning officer for them to have a proper schedule of those needs. That is planning. Now, this takes us to budget. And why this planning is going on, the MDA will ensure that there is a budget for those needs, and at the same time putting the source of fund or the budget on the planning, so that as they are planning, they are also considering the budget or the source of fund. Because it is somehow when, for example, a man goes to market who wants to buy maybe a television set. He don't have money and he don't know how to get the money. He just dress up, go to market to buy a television set. And when you get there, what will you do? So in procurement, it is very necessary for any procuring entity to consider budget first before stepping out for any procurement. So while you are making an arrangement for your procurement, you should also consider the budget or source of fund for that project. Now, having known this, now the next activity is bid preparation. In this case, the procurement officer will start to prepare his bidding document. He will now start preparing his TOR. He now start to prepare his RFP. He will now start to prepare his advertisement. And at the same time, the procurement officer will also constitute an evaluation committee that will take charge of the evaluation. So all these things are being done within this stage. And when all the necessary preparations are done, the next thing is the bidding stage. Now, this will not take us to the bidding stage. Under this bidding stage, the activities that happen, they are: 1, the MDA will not advertisement. They will not advertise, inviting interested contractors to tender their interest. So you can do your advertisement either in radio house, you can do it in media, you can as well do it, you can advertise at Bureau of Public Procurement website or journals, inviting interested contractors to tender their interest. Submit their proposals. Now, after this, the next thing is submission. Now, it is imperative that any MDA that wants to do any procurement would at least give 3 weeks. You can as well give 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, even 2 months, allowing contractors enough time for bid preparation before they will submit. And then after submission, the next activity that happens is bid opening. What happens under bid opening? You allow the contractors to send their representatives. It is either you tell them to send their representatives, or the contractors may send by themselves, because they want to witness the opening of the bid, which they have expressed their interest. So you allow them. They come, witness the opening of that bid, and the PE should ensure that every representatives must be satisfied or should be satisfied. Now, under bid opening, or once the bid is open, the next thing is preliminary examination. You examine if the bid are in compliance with your preliminary instruction. The instructions such as proper signing, proper addressing, proper envelope, the right envelope, and those that also meet the deadline. So you sort it out. Those that didn't meet that initial instruction, you keep them one side, and those that meet the instruction, you keep them for further evaluation. Now, after this preliminary examination, the next thing that will happen is evaluation. See, evaluation is a big topic. I will want to teach it in my subsequent class, but for now, I will only just say it's very simple. So, under evaluation, the PE will evaluate, or the evaluation committee will evaluate the technical first, after which they will now evaluate the financial. And after this evaluation, certainly a winner will emerge. Once evaluation is done, there will be a winner, a contractor that will pass the technical, and we also have a very good or lowest cost that will win the contract. But during my next class in evaluation, I will teach you evaluation. Evaluation is a little bit complex, but I'll break it down to your understanding in my subsequent class. But for now, just want you to understand the stages or activities that happens within public procurement procedure. So after evaluation, a winner will emerge. A bid that is very responsive will emerge as a winner. Now, when that winner emerges, the evaluation committee will now have to recommend that winner to the right approving authority. The authority could be State Executive Council, the authority could be Ministerial Tender Board, the authority could be Local Government Tender Board, the authority could be Parastatal Tender Board, depending on the threshold. You see, the threshold is also a topic of its own. It's something that I would teach maybe during when I would teach evaluation. I would teach threshold at the same time. But for instance, let me just give you a little breakdown of that. For example, a contract above 100 million naira is mostly reserved for State Executive Council approval, and a work that costs, or that the cost is below 100 million is mostly reserved for a Ministerial Tender Board approval. And when it is below 50 or within the range of 50 million, then the Parastatal Tender Board or the Local Government Board may approve it. Now, once the approving authority gives their approval, then the next thing is contract awarding. Now, the contract will be awarded to the winner. Now, after that That will not take us to the last stage, which is the post-bid stage. Under post-bid stage, what happens? Some of the activity that happens under this stage is one, contract execution. Now, before the contract the work, before the work commences, the contractor will receive either 15% mobilization of the total sum of the contract, or that he will move into the site and begin work and mobilize himself. But this is owed to the agreement. There are contracts that requires that 15% mobilization should be given to the contractor before he will go to site. And there are some contracts that requires that the contractor mobilizes himself and go into site, start work, and then within 3 months, the procuring entity will then mobilize him. So it depends on the nature and the agreement of that contract. Now, after that contract execution, the next thing is administrative work. Under administrative work, there are activities that will happen. Maybe, for example, there may be variance. And once there is variance, there should be a negotiation and agreement between the two parties, the contractor and the PE. They have to agree. And once there is an agreement, there should be documentations of those agreements. And whenever there is payment, the PE should also document the payment. Work progress report should also be documented by the PE. And this takes us to monitoring. From time to time, the PE will go and monitor the progress of the work. And when the work is completed, the PE issues the contractor the completion certificate and thereafter pays him his balance. So I believe that this little class will make an impact in your procurement career. And in my next class, I teach evaluation. I will teach evaluation just to help you in that area, and then later I will teach about procurement method. So I hope that this lecture have imparted little thing in your career, and I believe that you find it interesting. So you can check me in the next class. So I thank you for giving me time to listen.